If you're retired or close to retirement, you've probably felt this frustrating thing. Your income goes up a little, but your day-to-day life doesn't feel easier. Today, we are talking about one of the biggest reasons that happens, Medicare Part B, and how to plan for it in a way that reduces stress and prevents surprises. Quick disclaimer before we begin. This video is for educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I'm sharing general information and planning ideas so you can make better questions, better checklists, and better decisions for your own situation. Let's start with the retirement squeeze. When you're working, rising prices can sometimes be answered with higher income. Overtime, changing jobs, a side gig, cutting back temporarily, then catching up. In retirement, your income is often more fixed, so a cost increase doesn't just annoy you. It can permanently reshape your monthly budget. That's why Medicare Part B hits emotionally. It's not a nice to have. It's a foundational expense, the kind of bill that gets paid first, and everything else adjusts around it. Here's the core idea I want you to remember. A raise only helps if your essential expenses don't rise at the same time. If Medicare costs go up, that increase can directly reduce how much of your raise you actually keep for groceries, gas, utilities, and the things that make retirement enjoyable. So instead of asking, did my income go up? I want you to ask, did my leftover money go up? Leftover money is what determines your lifestyle, your comfort, and your sense of control. Now let's ground this in real specific numbers for 2026. In 2026, the standard Medicare Part B premium is $202.90 per month, and the annual Part B deductible is $283. Just pause and process that. The premium is a monthly bill every month, and the deductible is an annual cost you may have to satisfy before coverage kicks in for many Part B services. This is where the Medicare eats the raise feeling comes from. Even if your monthly income increases, it's very possible that healthcare costs claim a piece of that increase immediately. And then other essentials, food, utilities, insurance, compete for what's left. And it's not just the dollars, it's the timing. A premium is steady and predictable, which means it quietly reduces your spending room 12 times a year. A deductible is a lumpy cost. Maybe you pay it early in the year, maybe you pay it later, but when it hits, it can feel like a sudden punch to your cash flow. So let's make this practical. The first planning upgrade is to separate two ideas, annual cost and monthly reality. Annual cost tells you what the year looks like in total, but monthly reality is what determines whether you feel calm or anxious when bills come in. Here is a simple way to think about it. Your retirement budget has a floor and a ceiling. The floor is your baseline essentials, the bills you pay even if you don't leave the house. The ceiling is what you can do on top of that. Travel, restaurants, gifts, hobbies, home projects, helping family, and just living with fewer no's. When Medicare Part B rises, it raises the floor. And every time the floor rises, the ceiling gets lower unless your income rises faster than your floor. This is also why retirees often blame themselves. They say, I must be doing something wrong, but many times it's not overspending. It's that your baseline got more expensive and the budget didn't get rebuilt to match the new baseline. So let DS rebuild it without complicated spreadsheets and without making you feel like you reback in math class. Step one is clarity. Define your non-negotiables. These usually include housing, utilities, basic food, transportation basics, and healthcare. Not the perfect number, just a realistic number. If your current budget doesn't clearly show your healthcare costs, that's your first red flag. Step two is to turn those essentials into a monthly baseline. This is the amount your household needs each month to stay stable. If you can cover the baseline, you're okay. If the baseline isn't covered, then everything feels stressful because any surprise becomes a crisis. Step three is the most important part of today's video. Build a healthcare buffer that is separate from your normal spending money. Some people call this a sinking fund. Some people call it a medical cushion. I don't care what you call it. I care that it exists. Why separate? Because healthcare costs behave differently than grocery costs. Groceries are frequent and flexible. Medical costs can be irregular, paperwork heavy, and sometimes urgent. If you don't separate the money, medical bills end up stealing from rent money, food money, or credit card payments, and then you get a chain reaction of stress. A realistic healthcare buffer doesn't have to be huge. It's not about being rich, it's about being prepared. Even setting aside a small amount consistently can change your emotional experience of the year because you stop feeling like every appointment is a threat to your budget. Now, step four, stress test your plan with a not crazy bad year. Don't imagine a movie-level disaster. Imagine real life. Imagine your utilities rise. Imagine your groceries rise. Imagine you need a dental procedure. Imagine your car needs a repair. Imagine you have two of those things in the same month. Then ask one simple question. If that month happened, would I be inconvenienced or would I be thrown into panic? If the answer is panic, the fix is not shame. The fix is structure. You either raise the buffer, reduce optional spending, or look for ways to increase stability. Again, education only, no personal advice here, just the planning framework. Let me add one more important mindset shift. The goal is not to optimize, the goal is to stabilize. Most retirees don't need fancy tricks. They need fewer surprises and a clearer baseline. Here, and say practical technique that works for a lot of people. Treat Medicare like a subscription that will probably rise over time. When you treat it that way, you stop building a budget that only works in a perfect year. You build a budget that survives normal changes. Now, let us talk about the hidden reason this feels so harsh. People mentally spend their raise before they get it. They hear increase and their brain says, okay, I can breathe. Then the premium or deductible rises, and emotionally, it feels like something was taken away. That's why I want you to adopt a raise capture habit. Every time your income increases, you do one calm check before changing your lifestyle. What changed in my essentials? If essentials rose too, part of the raise gets assigned to the baseline first. Only the remainder becomes lifestyle money. This habit prevents the roller coaster where you feel hopeful in January and disappointed by March. Now I want to address couples and families, because this topic can create tension. If you share money with a spouse or partner, you don't want this to become an argument about who is spending what. You want it to become a shared safety plan. Here's a script you can use. I'm not trying to be negative, I just want us to feel safe. Healthcare costs can change, and I don't want to be caught off guard. Can we keep a small monthly buffer specifically for medical costs? Notice what this does. It removes blame. It focuses on safety. And it turns the conversation into a team decision instead of a budget fight. If you're helping an older parent, the best help is often administrative, not emotional. Help them list the baseline. Help them set up a simple buffer. Help them put a yearly reminder on the calendar to review the new numbers and update the plan. And yes, let's say the numbers again because they matter. In 2026, the standard Medicare Part B premium is $202.90 per month, and the annual deductible is $283. Here's how to turn those numbers into a simple calendar plan. Pick one day each year, same week every year, where you do your Medicare money check. You confirm the premium and deductible for the year, you look at your baseline, and you decide how to fund the difference if your healthcare line needs to rise. That's it. Once a year, one appointment with yourself. No panic, no doom scrolling, no guessing. Now let's cover common mistakes, because avoiding mistakes is often easier than doing everything perfectly. Mistake number one is budgeting only for the premium and ignoring the rest of healthcare reality. Premiums are the predictable part. Deductibles and other out-of-pocket costs are the lumpy part, and lumpy costs are what break budgets. Mistake number two is treating medical costs like a rare emergency. For many retirees, medical costs are not rare. They're recurring and unpredictable in timing. The buffer exists for timing, not just for total cost. Mistake number three is waiting until you're already stressed to make a plan. Plans made in stress are usually either too extreme or too vague. Plans made in calm are realistic, and realistic plans actually get followed. Mistake number four is assuming that a raise automatically improves life. A raise improves life only after the baseline is secured. That's not pessimism, that's stability. Now, I want to end with something encouraging. This topic sounds heavy because it's connected to health and security, but the solution is not complicated, it's a system. Know your baseline, build a healthcare buffer, do a once-a-year Medicare money check. Decide calmly what the new baseline should be this year. If you do that, Medicare Part B doesn't get to jump scare your budget. It becomes a known category, planned, expected, and handled. If this video helped, tell me in the comments. What's the most stressful expense for you right now? Healthcare, groceries, housing, or something else? I read the comments, and I can make a follow-up video that focuses on the category you're dealing with. And one more time, this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Always verify your numbers and consider speaking with a qualified professional for guidance tailored to your situation.